Now is the time to reach out to your friends, your neighbors, your family in the spirit of 1776. The globalists are making their move to create a worldwide depression out of that crisis, create a worldwide bank that you will pay your carbon taxes to. We told you this for more than a decade. Now they've openly announced exactly what we said they would. We know their plan. We know their operation. And we're here talking about it and covering it and trying to warn the people every day. Before we go back to Lindsey Williams, I want to encourage you to visit Infowars.com, the secure online video and bookstore shopping cart, and to not procrastinate, to get my films and high-quality DVD and the other films we carry, like Secret Mysteries of America's Beginnings, Volume 3, Eye of the Phoenix, Secrets of the Dollar Bill, just out, and we're discounting it out of the gates. Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, Terror Storm, A History of Government-Sponsored Terrorism, Fabled Enemies, Truth Rising, Comprehensive Annual Financial Reports Exposed, my Police State Trilogy. It's all discounted. It's all available right now at Infowars.com. Information is the key. And if people have knowledge, they will not be easily enslaved or perish. The people perish for lack of knowledge. So again, Infowars.com or 888-253-3139. You can also write to us to get the books and films at 3001 South Lamar, Suite 100, Austin, Texas, 78704. And today is the last day. We do a yearly special every year. I frankly just forgot about it. We were still running the special this month. Last month. It was supposed to end in early January. So today's the last day to get 5+ months free at prisonplanet.tv. And coming up in 25 minutes, we'll be simulcasting the last 2 hours live at prisonplanet.tv for the viewers out there, and I want to thank them for their support. Going back to Lindsey Williams, okay, continue with the idea of the solution. One of the solution ideas you had, Lindsey.
There is no shortage of crude oil whatsoever. The only shortage is honesty in Washington, D.C., and we could solve the tax shortfalls. We could solve the financial. We could pay off 1/2 approximately of the national debt. And here it is, right from the U.S. Geological Service, is called the Bakken, B-A-K-K-E-N, is the largest domestic oil discovery since Alaska's Prudhoe Bay. The Energy Information Administration, EIA, estimates it at 503 billion barrels of known oil on America's own soil in the north central part of the United States of America, at $107 a barrel. If only 10% of the known oil that they have found there is recovered, we're looking at a resource base worth more than $5.3 trillion. Alex, that's almost 1/2 of the entire national debt. And Terry Johnson, the Montana legislative financial analyst, gave this to his congressman, and he read it before the Congress of the United States of America. It's in the congressional record, and he said, when I first briefed the legislators on this, you could practically see their jaws hit the floor. And they've done nothing about it. We could pay off 1/2 of the national debt. We could solve the tax shortfalls. We could bring to America everything that they need from our own soil, from our own reserve. The Bakken, it's 8 times as much oil as Saudi Arabia, 18 times as much oil as Iraq, 21 times as much oil as Kuwait, 22 times as much oil as Iran, 500 times as much oil as Yemen. But, Alex, the startling part, the part that, oh, my goodness, I consider it a privilege to be able to give it to your listeners today. Within a matter of days after this was read before the Congress of the United States of America by the Montana's legislator, the Congress took action to pass a bill, to attempt to pass a bill to say no drilling in that area whatsoever. Alex, we have been so betrayed in Washington, D.C. Everything you've said on your program is true.
Well, we know by design that they, quote, want to get the economy moving, but they're hoarding all the money. The government going in and borrowing it. You know, they take our tax money, give it to the banks, and the government borrows it back from the very banks. And so that ensures that there's no liquidity out there. They want there to be no liquidity. They want the economy to stand still so it implodes, so they can consolidate it. And they also know that the petrodollar was the only thing keeping things going, so they're now killing that. This is a master plan. What do they plan to get out of this? I mean, obviously things are going to implode. Any info from your inside source about how long they're going to keep the price down, how bad it's going to get, what it's going to look like as these states go bankrupt? The globalists always have a solution to the crisis they create.
Yes, he told me exactly how long the price of crude oil was going to stay down here and the price at the gas pump. Folks, enjoy filling up that SUV. For at least, okay, here it is. He said the price of crude oil is going to stay below $50 a barrel for a lengthy period of time, and I gathered from what he said for a year to a year and a half, the price is going to stay down here until they fulfill everything that they want in the bankruptcy of the oil-producing countries of the world, doing exactly what they want to do with the American economy. Okay, here are my predictions. Watch it now. First of all, at Christmas time, you saw deflation. 50, 75% price drop. That's deflation. Within 9 months, maximum 1 year, you are going to see hyperinflation because the countries of the world get the message that the Federal Reserve is buying our T-bills, which pays the interest on the national debt. They don't buy them anymore and use them as reserve currency. And as a result, you are going to see the American dollar totally collapse. Secondly, you are going to see tax shortfalls that are going to be so phenomenal. 3/4 already of the tax income at the pump for the federal and the state government is gone. It's going to stay there for a year to a year and a half. 9 to 12 months from now, and here it is, based on what this gentleman told me, the man who called me and said everything that goes on behind closed doors, he knows what it is. 9 to 12 months from now, you are going to see a total collapse of the American dollar, Alex.
We've actually got a lot of IMF and World Bank people in the news today saying the dollar is going to collapse. Now, meanwhile, with those fiat dollars, the federal government's going to, quote, save the states with cash infusions, but with that will come total federalization of the states. And then if the states try to say no to national drafts and checkpoints and martial law and gun confiscation, the feds are planning to use Northcom and the U.S. military, this is all in the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, to physically take over the states. So states like New Hampshire are introducing bills like H.C.R. 6, and this has got a good chance of passing. It says that they will basically pull out and declare sovereignty and are ordering the state police to resist and not follow federal orders if Article 1, establishing martial law, I'm reading from the bill here, establishing martial law or state emergency within one of the states comprising the United States of America without the consent of the legislature of that state. This is Civil War level, folks. Article 2, requiring involuntary servitude or government service other than a draft during a declared war or pursuant to or administrative to incarceration under due process of law. Article 3, requiring involuntary servitude or governmental service of persons under the age of 18 other than pursuant to or administrative to incarceration after due process of law. And by the way, they are now openly in the White House announcing the compulsory service, and they're running TV ads. Surrendering any power delegated or not delegated to any corporation or foreign government. That's what's happening. All our power is being handed over. Any act regarding religion, further limitations of freedom of speech, or further limitations on freedom of the press. Article 6, further infringements on the right to keep and bear arms, including prohibitions on the type of quantity of arms and ammunition, and that should any act of Congress become law or executive order, judicial order be put into force, all powers previously delegated to the United States of America by the Constitution of the United States shall revert to the several states individually. And that's the 10th Amendment. Any further government of the United States of America shall require ratification of 3/4 of the states seeking to form a government of the United States of America and shall not be binding upon any state seeking to form such a government. So they're talking about pulling out of the unions, what that means. And similar legislation is introduced now in 10 states. It was 7. It's now 10. Lindsey Williams, the feds have the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, Northcom, all talking about taking over states. They know this is one of our key escape valves. Again, this is not the states wanting to bring down the republic. This is offshore corporations bringing down the republic using the wicked doppelganger of the new corporate state in Washington that's a fraud to bring in international tyranny. Lindsey Williams.
What do the elite have gained by this? You asked me that question a moment ago. Let me try to answer. Let's just take, for instance, the banking. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, all of these. They were banks that operated on their own. Now, they're broke. They've had to go back to the Treasury of the United States of America over and over and over and over again for injections of funds. As a result, they basically have nationalized them. So what are they going to have? Number one, they will own the banking institutions of the United States of America. Secondly, real estate. You're 3 months behind on your mortgage payment. They come in and say, okay, you've been paying on that mortgage for 20 years' time. They repossess the house. Do they give you anything back? No. You've given them 20 years of you paying on that mortgage payment if you've paid for it that long. What do they give you? Nothing. So what did they get that house for? Nothing but a computer entry. It wasn't even a piece of paper.
And let me just add, they're also talking about they'll let you keep your house, but you've got to voluntarily work as a slave in one of their programs, environmental land grabbing, gun grabbing. And, of course, it is involuntary servitude because they're saying, do this or we'll take your house. Go ahead.
So what do they have to gain? First of all, they'll own all the banking institutions. They already do. Secondly, they'll own the majority of the real estate of the United States of America. Now, let's go down to mom-and-pop businesses. They take and choose. They pick and choose what they want.